Hey everyone, so in this video we are going to be trying out these 3 different types of silicone. So I have used regular silicone. This one happens to be the Bond Crafter. I've used the Bond Crafter and I've used other companies' silicone, so I pretty much know how to do this, but I really want to compare the regular silicone to these 2 other products. And I have never used them before. So, and I'm going to be making the same mold with each one, and the same 3, I should say. I'm using these little trinkets. These 2 were actually from keychains. You know, every time I go into one of those stores that has keychains, I look at them because they all have these little crystals in them. And all I can think of is those into resin molds and the pretty sparkles that are on them. And I want to recreate it. So that's why I've chosen to use these 3. And I'm going to do the same ones with each of them. And I'm going to be using these mold casings. My son printed them up on his 3D printer, and I know all of you don't have 3D printers. So you can actually use many different things. You can use a Tupperware container. You just have to make sure the bottom is flat. Like this one has a big bump in the middle, so you couldn't use that. You can make up your own. All of these companies also sell this mold casing that you can use. And you have to use that for these 2. This is different. But anyway, this is how you put this one together. So it's really pretty easy. I've put this together in previous videos, and they come with all different pieces so that you can make it as small or as large as you want it. You clamp the pieces together, and it also comes with tape to put on the back. I had many problems with it only because I really didn't follow the instructions, and then I tried putting it on nonstick paper. so my tape didn't stick, and then you're supposed to hot glue it around the edges too, and the hot glue of course didn't stick to the nonstick paper. So everything was leaking out and whatnot. So you really have to glue it down to something that it will stick to. So you see, the main thing for this is you have to follow the instructions. So like I said, the same 3. So I'm going to have 3, 3, and 3. We'll have 9 molds, and we'll pour the resin on all 9 of them at the same time, and we'll see what they look like. We'll see the results. And some of these have, like this one here has some little holes in it. So I'm going to take some of this tape and kind of put it on the bottom and cut it to fit. And then these all have to be able to sit flat. So I'm going to glue them down. You have to glue your stuff down because it can float. I've done quite a few projects where I've poured the resin in and then all of a sudden it starts floating. I did a styrofoam skull with crystals all over at once, and it was a total disaster. It leaked, it floated, everything. So anyway, we're going to do these the right way. So I hope you watch to see how each one of them's used and to see the final results. So I'm gluing the mold housings down with hot glue onto cardstock paper. I got the idea for the cardstock paper from Michelle from Glitz and Glitter. That's how they do their molds. So it worked well for the regular silicone molds. And then I hot glued down the 3rd mold housing, and the item that I'm going to be putting in it is really not that big, but that was the next smallest one that I had. And honestly, when you're doing this, you should have it so that you have like a 1/4 inch all the way around it. And if it's too big for the item that you are molding, you're really wasting silicone doing it. And I am going to be wasting some silicone because the item is really pretty small. Well, here's the turtle, and I'm filling it up with hot glue because it has a big opening in the bottom, and I really want it to sit flat. I don't want the resin to seep under it. So I'm just going to let that dry. So here's the butterfly, and you can see the back. I put some tape on the back so that when I go to put the hot glue on it, the hot glue won't go up into the holes or the silicone won't seep under into the holes. Just put the hot glue over the entire back of the butterfly, and then push it down in the center of the mold housing, and then some of it, I guess, had squished out, so I'm trying to clean up around the edge, and you don't want any hot glue strings or anything, and you really want it on there nice and flat and level. So this one really can't sit flat because it has a bump on each side of the flower. So I'm just going to put hot glue on the part that bumps out and glue that down and let the resin go, or not the resin, the silicone go under it. And like I said, this mold housing is way too big and I'm really going to be wasting resin, but I didn't have one any smaller. And then the last one is the turtle, and as you know, I already poured the hot glue in it. So I'm putting hot glue on the bottom, the flat bottom, and I'm going to press it down into the mold casing. And again, it's really important to glue everything down because, first of all, you don't want anything to shift when you pour the silicone in, and you do not want it to float. And as I've said before, I've had many items float up to the top, and it's impossible to fix after that. You have to kind of start all over again. So this is the meltable silicone from J. Diction, and the instructions say to melt it on a double boiler or put it in the microwave. Of course, I didn't follow the instructions. I put it into this plastic container, put it in my resiner's curing machine, and I figured, well, this goes up to 149 degrees. I'll just put it in here for 2 hours and kind of forget about it, and then it'll melt. Well, about 18 minutes before it was supposed to be done, I opened it up and looked at it, and it was really quite melted, but not quite enough. So I popped it into the microwave for about 30 seconds. And when I looked at the instructions again, I think it said it will melt at 158 degrees, and this only went to 149. But my heat tables go to 158, so I should have put it on that. So then I just poured it on top of each of them, and I actually didn't have enough to completely fill the flower one. And had I had a smaller mold casing, it would have been perfect for it. But because I was using one that was too large, I didn't have to have enough, and I had to remelt some more of the silicone. So they say it takes about 3 to 4 hours before you can demold it, and this is a little over 4 hours later that I demolded. And this paper that I have on the back is really hard to get off. So if I had to do it again, I would use something different. It worked really well for the regular silicone molds that I've done in the past, but for this type of silicone, it did not work well. It was it was not easy to get off at all, and I have this video way in fast forward. So, and then once I do get the majority of it off, I get a razor and I start cutting around the turtle so that I can have a nice mold to pour the resin into. It was cleaned up. The next one was equally as difficult. I tried spraying it with some isopropyl alcohol to help loosen up that paper on the back. It was just a pain, and I was able to just go ahead and pull the butterfly out of it. And then I continued to try to clean it up, and I actually ended up rinsing it off with some water. It seemed to do the trick, but look, I did it too thin and the butterfly has a tear in the back. By the time I got to the third one, I was over it. I just popped it out and took it right to the sink and scrubbed that stuff off of there because it was just so hard to get off and it was making such a mess. So anyway, I scrubbed that off and then took a razor and just drew a circle around the back so that I could get the flower out the back. So this demold time was 4 hours. The regular silicone rubber is 3 to 6 hours, which we're using next. Next, we're doing the Bond Crafter silicone rubber. This is measured by weight, so you do need a little scale, 1-to-1 ratio. Pour it in, mix it up. So you can see I already have the mold casings glued down and the butterfly, turtle, and flower glued inside of the mold casings. And you mix this just like you would mix resin, slowly so as not to incorporate a bunch of bubbles, scraping the sides and scraping the bottom. So once it's all mixed, I just pour it on top of each, and I actually probably mixed up a little bit too much, but I do end up using it all and just making it a little bit deeper, and especially over the butterfly because I poured it too thin on the butterfly for the last silicone that I used. So these popped off this cardstock paper super easy. Now, I don't remember it coming off that easy last time, but it did come off easy. But the thing is, I let this silicone cure normally, but the last half hour, I put the heat table on just to make sure it was all the way cured before I took the items out of it. And I think that even made that paper come off easier just being warm like that. So anyway, after I got the paper off, I used the razor blade just like I did with the other and kind of carved around it so that I could pull it out easier. And then when I poured the resin into it, it would not have anything overlapping it. And really they came out super easy, except for if you watch close, the chain comes out or comes off when I demold this butterfly. So I have to replace the rhinestone chain. Just glue it back down. And you see the chain there stuck in the silicone. I just pulled it off. And again, for this last one, I just did a circle around the little hole that was there and pulled the top off there. And it is a little tricky getting that one out, but with a little bit of work, it'll pop out. And honestly, the meltable silicone came out with the same amount of effort. I mean, it wasn't hard. The silicone was very flexible. Next is the silicone putty from Let's Resin. So originally, I was going to mix enough of this silicone for all three of them, but it only has a 3-minute work time, so I decided I would do it individually for each one because I was afraid it was going to cure before I could get to the last one or whatever. So this is also done by weight. So you just weigh them, make sure they're the same weight, mix them together. You have like just a minute or so to mix it together until it's one uniform color, so that you can't see the white going through it. And it's pretty easy to work with. It's super soft to start with. And then it shows on the picture, it shows you pressing down on it to get all the details and then putting another blob on top of it. But the funny thing is, when I went to pick it up to flip it over the other way, I couldn't get it up. It was all sticking to the silicone. So I thought, oh, that's dumb. Well, silicone sticks to silicone. Once it cures, I'll never get it up. So I decided to use some nonstick paper and do it the same way. And so I went and did it the same way, pushed it down, and then tried to get it up. And it even stuck to the nonstick paper. It was a mess. So I found that I couldn't do it that way. So I don't know if anybody else has used it. Give me some tips. So I just did it this way. I flipped it over, pushed the turtle into it, and then went on to the next one. And again, the same thing for each one. You weigh them out, you mix them together. It's a 3-minute work time, so you do kind of have to work fast, but it is doable. It's very easy to work with. It's super, super soft when you start mixing it. And then I just did the same thing with all three of them. Put it down, put the item upside down into it, and press down. And then here's the third one. And this was a little bit easier to do because, like with the turtle, I didn't have to fill it with hot glue or anything. And the only thing is, it just gets the bottom of it. So that's what will be with the others, is the turtle and the butterfly. It will be just like that. But with this flower in the other silicones, I was able to pour around it, so it will get some of the detail from the back of it also. So does anyone remember when I made those night lights with the cardinal into resin molds? And a lot of people complained because they thought they were too thin. I think they're perfect for the night lights or for glass and resin art. But like I said, a lot of people complained they were too thin. And I said, well, I think I have a way that we can maybe make them thicker. And this is what I was thinking of, but I was kind of waiting until I made this video. So I'm sorry it took a long time. So what I thought was we could press them into this silicone and just push it down a little bit deeper, and that would make it thicker. And I think a lot of people were maybe wanting to make them for ornaments, but I mean, the thickness that they are now are really good for the night lights. And like I said, for glass on glass, if you wanted them sitting in a tree with some glass art. But I thought I would try this and see how this works out. So of course I just mixed it up the same way. I measured it and mixed it up the same way I did with everything else. And then just pressed it in and let it set up. So before they had cured, I moved them all over to one table, and I was looking at the bottoms of them, and I saw that a couple of them had holes in the bottom. So this angel I had done off camera, and it's just a little pin of an angel with little rhinestones in it. And I lifted it up to see if I could see through, and there was a little hole in the bottom. So what I ended up doing was mixing up some more of the putty and just pressing it down onto the bottom to make it thicker so that there wasn't any leaks when I poured the resin. One weird thing that I did notice that when I was mixing this, I looked over at my Resiner's air purifier and the numbers were going up on it and it turned red. So I started mixing it over by it, and this was the only product of the three that did not have any precautions while using it. And it actually showed you mixing it with your bare hands. I had no idea. I just figured it was safe because it showed them mixing it with the bare hands and there was no precautions listed. So this one here actually has a 20-minute cure time. So honestly, I did not demold after 20 minutes. It was probably several hours because I was doing something else, but each of the items came out super easy. They just popped right out. Now this is not a super flexible silicone, but because they were just sitting on the top, they were easy to pop out. And yeah, the impression from each of the items was really nice, so I'm optimistic about it. So so anyway, I mixed up my resin. I used the same color for each set of items. So for all of the butterflies, I made it yellow with the Dr. Martin Bombay India ink. For the turtles, I made them green with the octopus ink from Laura's Art Corner. It's called olive green, I believe. These are really concentrated alcohol inks imported, I believe, from Germany, and I have a 10% discount code off of everything on her site. And then the flowers, I all made a red with the cherry red octopus ink. For the little angel, I used something from Into Resin. It's a Starry Skies colorant. I don't know. I was just trying to make it a real pale white. And then after I had mixed them all, the colorants all in, I had to put them through the bubble removal machine. Anything that I put in a mold, I use my Resiner's bubble removal machine. The only thing I don't use it for, if I do glass on glass or canvas, you do not need it because you can torch those out very easily. You can just, take a torch and it's so thin, most of the bubbles dissipate anyway. But in these molds, it's very difficult to get bubbles out. Some will raise to the top and you can squirt it with the isopropyl alcohol, but really you're not supposed to be using any kind of torches on molds because you can damage them. And this one here with the flowers, I mean, I had to keep on pushing it and pushing it, and there was tons of bubbles that were underneath it that I had to keep on pushing out. Now I'm going through this super fast, but in the end I ended up with some extra red resin that I put some red mica powder in, and some extra clear resin that I put some of that Loraz pigment paste in. And I poured them both into this butterfly mold, and you won't believe how pretty this ends up turning out. This is one of the butterfly mold that I used on the crosses for Easter, and it really turned out pretty. So I used that, and then I went ahead and poured the last of it was the yellow to pour on the butterflies. When I was pouring the butterfly, I totally forgot it had a tear in the back, but it did not leak. Okay, so the first one is the J. Diction meltable silicone,
And the only problem with this, well, I did have some overpour, I pulled that off, but the only problem with this was it felt like it was sticking to the resin. It was kind of some areas were hard to get off. And not only did it stick to it, but some of it was stuck in it. And here I'm just pulling the excess overpour off, and that's not it. But there was areas that this blue-green silicone was actually stuck in it, and I had to pick it out of there. But other than that, the turtle is still super sparkly. I think it turned out pretty. The only thing with it is it didn't get its tail, or the resin didn't go up into the tail because the actual piece of jewelry had a longer tail on it. But I don't know how long turtles' tails are. So this one here was a pain to get out. I have this way in fast forward, but it was just sticking to the resin. The silicone was actually sticking to the resin, and I had to really work to get that out of there. And then once I did get it out of there, there was a bunch of silicone, green silicone stuck to it, and I had to work at it for for a long time just getting it out of there. And once I thought I had it all out, there was still more in there. So that isn't a good thing to have the silicone stuck in there. And then this last one, the butterfly, was kind of a pain to get out too. And it looks like I'm doing it fast, but this is sped way up. It did have some overpour, so I did have to, trim around the edges and everything. I just got this curved scissors yesterday at the flea market. So, and it did have some of the blue silicone stuck in the little cracks and crevices, and I had to work at it to get it out. The weird thing is, remember when we saw the crack in this mold? I never even thought about it. I just went on to working on my other stuff and poured the resin as normal. And look at it now. It's like it had repaired itself. It's really strange. So this next one is the Bond Crafter silicone rubber, and this acted as expected. They popped right out. I had no problems with the silicone sticking to the resin. The only thing with the turtle, again, for some reason, the resin didn't go up into the tail. But I know a lot of times if you have real small areas like that, you have to kind of coax the resin up into the area. So, but it's very sparkly, super pretty, and I did have some trim work to do on it. So here I'm showing you what the tail was supposed to look like. Yeah, it had a long tail on it, and for some reason the resin didn't go up in it, or maybe it broke off when I was taking it out. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up in there. So this next one is the flower again, and I just have to bend it a couple of times and it pops right out. And super sparkly, super pretty. Yeah, that came out much easier than the other mold. And it might even have, I don't know, it might even have better clarity and sparkle a little bit more. I don't know. I don't know why that would be. I mean, the sparkly, why it would sparkle more, I could see because of the mold, but the clarity shouldn't be any different. It was the same pour. And then this last one is the butterfly, and that comes out pretty easy too. It does have some overpour that I have to trim up, but other than that, that one worked out good. And this really sparkles super pretty also. So the next one is the Let's Resin silicone putty. And these are real easy to demold because there's nothing over the top of any of them. But that one little foot broke off. I guess it wasn't deep enough or something, and the foot broke off of there. But look, this one has its tail. So I guess I'll have to push it down deeper next time if I use it again. So yeah, it pops out real nice. It does sparkle, but it's a matte finish. It does sparkle with the matte finish though, but it's definitely a matte mold, which I'm kind of surprised because the silicone where the turtle wasn't is shiny. So this pops out real easy. This ends up being thinner because the silicone doesn't cover the other side of it. Needs a little bit of trim work around the edges, but it is pretty. It does sparkle a little bit. It's just not as shiny or sparkly as the other silicone ones because it is a matte mold. So, and then the last one is the butterfly, and that's pretty too. And then here is my cardinal mold that I thought I was going to be able to make thicker by pressing it down, but it really didn't come out any thicker. so that was a bust. We didn't, it does sparkle a little bit though. I'm going to take those 3 out and try to spray them and see if they don't come out any more sparkly, because like I said, they're matte finish. And then the very last one I did off camera was a pin of an angel that was real pretty. I should have done it in a color. That's what I should have done, is in a color, and then I think I'll go out and spray that one. I'm a little off camera here. I'm trying to show you what it looked like originally. So that's the back of it. If I take that pin off, I could probably use the regular silicone with it, but it really has a lot of gems on the front, so it should sparkle. I'm going to see what I can do with that maybe in a future video. But wouldn't that be pretty if it was a color with some sparkles on it on top of a Christmas tree at Christmas time?
Hey everyone, so I hope you can see everything here. So the J. Diction remeltable silicone, I don't know that I would use again, just because it was kind of a pain to melt. It took so long, and I really don't want this in my microwave. To me, it's just easier to mix. And then it stuck. A lot of it stuck to the actual silicone. The resin stuck to the silicone, and it was a pain digging it out and getting it all situated there. So I'm not sure that I would want to use that again. This Bond Crafter silicone rubber is just like some of the other ones from the other companies. Works really well. It's just as good as any of the other ones, and everything popped right out. This was super easy to bend and pop out. This is the one that would be the hardest, and they turned out nice and sparkly. And I don't know. I want to say these were pretty equal. I think this might be a little bit more sparkly. It might have picked up more of the effects on it. And then as far as this one goes, the Let's Resin Putty, well, first of all, it's a matte mold. So you'd have to spray it after, and it still doesn't come out as shiny. And as you can see, I'm gonna put this next to my the one with the regular silicone. So you can see the difference in them. This is even after I put a spray varnish on it. It just doesn't come out as sparkly. So I'm sure there's different purposes for it. If you couldn't lay something flat, I guess you could use this to press in, to make an impression. I'm sure there's different uses for it. But for me, this is what I would use, is a regular pourable silicone that you don't have to melt or whatever. But I really, really wanted to try it for the cardinal mold, because well, not everybody, but when I did the video for this, a lot of people wanted it to be thicker. That was their major complaint. And I thought for sure I could make it thicker by using this, and that's what I was waiting for. But I mean, I still like it. So that was the major complaint with that cardinal mold, was it was too thin. And I think maybe some people were wanting to use it as ornaments. And really, it's just best for stuff like the night lights, and if you have like glass art with a tree and you want to put some cardinals in it, that looks real pretty like that. But my idea didn't work. I thought I could make it deeper, a little bit thicker using this, but it didn't work, so sorry. So anyway, this was the little butterfly that I poured. I thought that turned out so pretty with the the white and the red leftover that I had. I put some mica powders with them and made them darker, and then I highlighted it with, I just love this mold. And this you can get right on Amazon. I think Into Resin has it too, but probably cheaper on Amazon. And I put the rhinestone chain in the middle. I just love that butterfly mold. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was, so anyway, this is what I'll be using. So and different companies have the same silicones, but I have Bond Crafter and it works just fine. It's a real nice silicone for molds. But the other thing is, so this is 15A, and I didn't know the difference. So when you look online to buy silicones, I guess silicones come from 0A, and I have no idea what the A means, to 90A. And the 0A is the softest, the 90A is the hardest. So this is 15A, and this on this one it doesn't say the hardness, but I would say it's very similar to the regular 15A from Bond Crafter. And then this does say, and this says it's 40A, and you can tell it's really much stiffer, harder. So the good things about having a softer silicone is, well, it's more flexible, easier to get the mold out. It does still catch all the details of it. The only downside is that they don't last as long. So I don't know if you notice the Into Resin molds are really soft. Some of them are really soft and smushy. So those are probably more like 10A, even softer. So the softer they are, the easier they are supposedly to tear. Excuse me, and they just don't last as long. So that's the only downside of them. The harder molds, of course, it's more, if you're putting something in it, like, gosh, if you were trying to do this in there, you would never get it out of a 40A if it was a silicone where you poured it over it. So just harder to get out, but they do last longer. So there are differences. So you have to look when you're buying your silicone what you're getting, what the number is on it. So that's just a tip. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, a funny thing. So on our Facebook group, this part isn't funny, but on our Facebook group, there was a lady who was saying she's having allergic reactions to resin. She probably can't use it anymore. And different people were giving her suggestions. And somebody posted this Facebook thing about alternative to resin. And I'm gonna put it on here, see if you can see it.
Add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, half a cup of water, and a splash of white vinegar to a small pan. Stir over medium heat until the mixture turns thick and glassy. While it's still hot, pour the bioplastic over pressed flowers in a silicone mold. Once it's cool and firm.
So I had to try it. I thought, oh my gosh, that's just too easy. Wouldn't that be great if all we had to do was mix water and cornstarch with a splash of vinegar? No, so I did it, of course. I had to try it and look at it. And I should have known, because cornstarch is white, it doesn't dissolve clear, and I haven't even tried to take it out of here. Look at it. It's like a gloppy, gluey mess that sticks to your hands. It doesn't look anything like that picture. I just thought that was so funny. I had to share it with you. So it was like, I wonder how many other people tried it to see if it would work, because it looks so good, like it really would. And I did it just as the directions said on it. But it's like gravy. If you add cornstarch to a thin gravy, it just makes it, thick. So anyway, I thought that was a funny thing to show. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new. I have been wondering about these, and I have been wanting to try to make this deeper for you guys to figure out, and I was waiting until I use this. I've actually had this I've had both of these for a very long time. So anyway, I'm really sorry about that. So anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps the channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, check out my channel. I have hundreds of videos, glass and resin art, just all sorts of stuff. My husband is starting to make some stuff. He just retired. Anyway, he's going to be doing a river table soon. Well, actually, the river table is curing right now. Anyway, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. We have an amazing Facebook group. They are just an amazing group of people, very helpful, very kind. No question is too silly. Come check us out there, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching.